Section 6 is kind of interesting because we're going to talk about concrete operational stage. You actually have it in your option 2 for your final project. But here we're going to talk about mental actions, such as reversing, combining, and separating information that's going to happen in children during the concrete operational stage. Another element that is very important, and we can see that in this stage, is decentration, which is actually the ability of considering multiple aspects of the same problem all at the same time. For example, if you would see some sort of problem in front of yourself, for example, your boss is mad at you, you are able to just understand, like you are able to actually think about your previous experiences with your boss. You can actually understand some specific characteristics of your boss, or maybe some sort of problems that you guys had recently. So you are able to consider multiple aspects at the same time, and you are able to just come up with a solution for that, right? This is not the same case for children. Before this stage, before concrete operational stage, they would only just consider one aspect of each problem. Mom is mad. Maybe I did something right now. They cannot, or maybe I did something an hour ago. They cannot understand that maybe mom's job is just kind of demanding, or maybe this is just around New Year and mom is just kind of overwhelmed because she also has a job, or maybe dad is not actually in the house recently. They cannot actually think about different aspects. They would just consider one aspect and provide one solution for that, and that is all. But here in this stage, they have the idea of decentration, which means that they can consider multiple aspects of that. But just actually be mindful that decentration not going to happen in the beginning of this stage. This stage has a period. So some children, yes, they might actually come to this stage with that knowledge, but some other children, they would just actually reach to that point by the end of the stage. Okay, so this is very important. We also have gradual improvement in understanding conservation task. Again, you have to go back and check your final project, but the whole idea of conservation task is this is invariant, which means that it has order. And for example, number comes first, then we have like mass, length, and weight. If you would go back and check your final project folder, you can see for option 2, we have different questions and tasks. Just read each question carefully and each task actually carefully. Then you can understand that, oh, well, each question had some sort of goal. For example, some children, they might be really young and they would actually conserve number, but they wouldn't be able to conserve weight, right? Because they are too young, or maybe they didn't have any training for that. So make sure you're gonna check your final project folder along with reading your textbook and reading the lecture, because without doing the lecture and textbook, you are not able to approach your final project in the best way possible. Other stuff gonna happen during concrete operational stage. We have relational reasoning, which means understanding categories. Seriation tasks gonna happen at this point, and we're gonna have transitivity of quantitative relations, which is very important. Then we have formal operational stage, which is actually the ability of hypothetical deductive reasoning. It is just ability to evaluate possibilities and probable outcome. Like before doing a task, a child in that stage can consider different aspects of the task, decentration at the same time, and they can actually predict what's going to happen if they would do some specific actions during that task. If you would watch this experiment, pendulum experiment, you can actually understand what I'm talking about. The way like the participants, it just measuring different aspects, it actually tells a lot. You can see the video here. It can actually help you to just come up with some ideas for your video. And you can actually understand why I'm asking you to put your video in YouTube, and also in TikTok, because other students can actually understand your science better. You can communicate your ideas, and maybe in 1 or 2 years, you're going to be proud of what you have done in this class. It was a group activity before, but now it's going to be individual activity because this course is online. But I want to ask you to read these 3 questions, and especially the last one, and actually think about how can culture could contribute to Piaget's theory. It's very important. I'm going to talk about this now, but yeah, I mean, how do you actually feel like children of different culture would just approach each stage? Is it like same for all children around the world? For example, Eastern children would do the same and would do a specific task like error A, not B at the same time as children in the Western communities and societies? I don't know. So now we are actually like at least like 1 or 2 decades, sorry, centuries after Piaget, and we have a wide range of research about Piaget's theory. The finding actually of those further research showed that younger children are just more advanced than what Piaget proposed, um, mainly because Piaget's task actually demands a higher level of verbal ability. Like you have to use language properly to answer the task because basically he was asking children some questions and maybe children they didn't know the vocabulary for just answering the question in the best way. So putting them in a specific stage because they don't know how to use language properly, maybe it wouldn't be the best. So that's why other scientists and researchers such as Boiler-Jones, I'm going to talk about this, came up with other experiments to actually assess children and just understand their cognitive development better. Another point about Piaget, another limitation about Piaget's actually theory is in adolescence, actually, like in a specific age, like adolescents, individuals, they do not have that kind of high advanced abilities that Piaget predicted. They actually perform lower than what Piaget proposed. So back to what we have, it seems like younger children, they are more advanced, but older individuals, like adolescents, they are not that much advanced. Also, another point is lack of considering cultural elements in Piaget's perspective. It seems like culture can impact a lot. Um, Cognitive development, and this is like the key for cognitive development. However, Piaget, he didn't consider that. He just considered his own children, his own family, and based on that small sample size, he actually came up with like a broad theory. So actually, Vygotsky considered culture as a big part of his theory. We're going to talk more about that. But yeah, just actually memorize that, keep that in mind. Culture is a big part of cognitive development, and Piaget didn't consider that.